If you are in a place with your business where you are like, I want to reach 6 figures, then continue listening to this episode. Hi, my name is Brianna Régine, and I am a brand growth strategist. I also am the founder and CEO of Brianna Régine Visionary Consulting, and you are listening to the Brand Unveiled. So, on YouTube particularly, I see a lot of videos about how I built a 6-figure business or how I got my company to 6 figures in 6 months, less than 12 months, 90 days. There's so many different videos putting a timestamp on the 6-figure achievement. And I just want to start this episode with saying, don't feel bad or behind if you haven't hit your 6-figure mark in your business. Reaching 6 figures, it may seem like a lot of people are doing it, and they probably are. But that doesn't mean that because you're not there yet, you're less than or you're not successful. Reaching 6 figures isn't easy. It actually is challenging. And if it were easy, everyone would be doing it. But despite it being challenging, it is not impossible. Because it's not impossible, I'm going to share with you how I got my marketing and communications agency to 6 figures in 2021 at the age of 26. So the first thing is mindset. In 2021, we were coming out of the pandemic, and in 2020, I believe I still had doubled my revenue from 2019. I'm reading off of a business award that my team and I submitted the company for, and I knew that I had my figures right. So from year to year, our revenue as a company has doubled, specifically ever since 2019. And from 2020, we were blessed to see an increase of over 100%. We tripled our revenue from 2020 to 2021 when we hit the 6-figure mark, which was awesome and such a blessing, especially coming out of a crazy, unfortunate global wide pandemic. And so I knew coming out of 2020 and going into 2021 that I wanted to hit this goal. For me, this goal meant more opportunities for myself. It also meant that I could give more opportunities to others and my team, and just setting myself up for the life that I want. And that doesn't involve being in the day-to-day of my business. I love working with my clients, but there are other things that I want to build within my business, and I have to get there. And so I just knew that having more capital and cash flow could put me on a path to getting to that goal sooner. So I sat down, and I remember writing on my goal list that I wanted to have $1 million company. $1 million company. Child, we are not there yet. That's on my goal this year. That's on my goal for this year. Okay. I had wrote that I wanted to have a 6-figure company, and I believed it. I knew it was possible, and I knew that I was capable. So mindset is the very first step to getting that 6-figure mark. If you don't believe you can do it, then who the hell gonna believe in you? Make it make sense. 2 + 2 has gotta equal 4. Okay? In your mind and when it comes to that paper. Next. Okay, so tip number 2 is I use SMART goals. And I spoke about this in the last podcast episode, but I literally said for the S, which is specific, I want to make 6 figures by December 31st, 2021. And I worked backwards from there. But particularly how I even got to the 6-figure mark is in the process of me working backwards, I had to determine, okay, how many sales do I need to make? What kind of packages do I need to sell? On average right now, what is my monthly revenue from my clients? How many more clients do I need? Do I need to raise the prices for any of my clients? What kind of services do I need to sell? Right? Do I need to sell more consultations? Do I need to sell more done for you services? What are the vibes? So those are like measurable KPIs, right? I also had to assess if this was achievable and realistic. I knew it was achievable and realistic because I had paid attention to the revenue growth within my business from previous years, particularly in 2020 and 2019. And I noticed that the revenue was not only going up, but from 2019 to 2020, it doubled. So because of that, I was like, okay, well, because it doubled in 2019 to 2020, and based on the clients that I already have and, you know, the average sales that I make a month in 2021, if I do nothing, I know in this year I'll double it again because of what happened in 2019 and what happened in 2020. So I knew that because I had a pattern of my revenue, if I implemented certain tactics, then I could take it up a notch and do more. So that was really helpful. And then outside of using the SMART goals, when that's all done, you have to do step 3, which is the implementation phase. So knowing that my deadline was December 31st, I worked backwards. So even within that SMART goals model, I was able to get really specific with my numbers. So if we do 100 grand divided by 12, that means I would have had to make $8,333.33 a month in order to reach that 6-figure mark. Now, let me tell y'all something. January 2021, I could probably go back and look, but I know that all 12 months I was not making that 8 grand. Like some months were more than that, some months were less than that. But what I did do, which leads into my 4th step, is budget. Like I budgeted every freaking week of every month because not only did it help me stay disciplined and excited to reach my goal, but it also was helpful for me to see the numbers in front of my face so that way I wasn't aiming aimlessly and, you know, undercharging myself or, you know, not being mindful that, no, you have these numbers that you need to meet in order to make your goal. And every month, depending on how much I brought in, those numbers changed, but at least I had a form of measuring where I was on the path to accomplishing the goal of hitting 6 figures. So I budgeted like crazy, and the budget helped the implementation as far as knowing, okay, I need to pitch to this many people. Or if on social media, if I'm getting particular leads, I need the leads to be from this particular kind of post. Or I need to send out a newsletter, or I need to reconnect with previous clients, like all of these different tactics so that way I could put power and work behind the SMART goal planning and having an outcome of 6 figures. Okay. So knowing that I had this goal, I had a game plan, I was implementing it, I was budgeting like crazy. Truthfully, this last step number 5, is like bread and butter. Polynesian sauce and Chick-fil-A nugget. Like this one is huge. I honestly feel like it made all the difference. And that is faith and manifestation. For me, as an entrepreneur and business owner, I definitely am tapped in with my faith like no other. Like me and God, we talk. Every morning we talk. we have a conversation because I need to remain grounded in who I am as a person. And I also need to remember that although I make a plan in quotations, the plan is ultimately his. And when I don't know what's going to happen or how am I going to come up with this money or is the goal even feasible or, this client dropped out, like, what am I going to do now? Like, all of that had to be relinquished to him. Had to let it go. Had to talk to him about it. Had to let it go. And had to know that deep down inside, it was going to happen. And that brings me to the manifestation part, which is you speak things into existence. It is totally true. That's probably the only reason I feel, or maybe not the only reason, because I worked hard. I worked my butt off. But the main reason why I even hit six figures in the first place, I literally kept saying, I'm going to hit six figures. I own a six-figure company. I'm going to own a six-figure company. And even in my talk track, like whenever I would say I'm trying to make six figures, I would correct myself. I'm going to hit six figures. I'm going to do it. I am doing it. That goes so far, farther than you think. And with these 5 steps, I was able to hit six figures within my marketing communication agency before December 31st. I believe I told my parents first, definitely was in like maybe early winter. So like maybe, I can't remember if it was before my 27th birthday. I can't remember, but it was definitely giving spring, September, summer. And I remember telling my parents and they were proud. And then I told my best friends and then I gradually told some other people. And then I told my family at our annual Christmas party. And that was great. That was a really cool feeling and probably a moment that I'll never forget. So that's how I reached six figures within my business. And reaching six figures is hard. It is not easy. I don't care what anyone tells you. I don't care what the ads are and how it's positioned and, reach $100,000 within 90 days and like, girl, let me tell you something. I'm not saying those things are impossible because, again, when you look at SMART goals, if you have the resources and it's just about being intentional and up-leveling your strategy and your tactics to put fire under those resources that already are working so that way you can work with the foundation that you have to get to $100,000 months, cool, great, fantastic. I know my agency will have $100,000 months. I know it will. But right now, and definitely in 2021, I didn't have no foundation. I didn't have no systems. I didn't have the strategy. Like, I didn't have the wherewithal to make that a thing. Like, at that point, I would have just been talking out of my ass crack. You have to be realistic about it. And I'm telling you that it is possible. It totally is possible. And let me also say too, in that same breath, because if you listen to it, you're probably like, okay, well, what resources exactly do I need? For me, I was already making between 4 to 5 figure months. Definitely more so on the lines of like 5 figure months. And it wasn't always consistent in 2021, but I knew that my average was between 4 to 5 figure months. Right. So in order to get to that 6-figure mark, I was like, okay, well, I have something's working for me to have 4 to 5 figure months. So what else can I do to up level that so that way it's consistently 5-figure months? And then what can I do from there to make sure those 5-figure months are surpassing that $8,333? Or if I didn't hit that this month, okay, well then what do I need to do to cover it in the next month? Like I already had certain things in place going for my business. So that way it wasn't, I'm going to make, 6 figures in, before the end of the year. And I only averaged like $150 a month. You know what I'm saying? And even that, like depending on your business and depending on Maybe you do make only $150 a month. I don't know. Maybe you do. But the SMART goal still applies, right? Like you still can work backwards and figure out, okay, well, if I'm making $150 a month, how am I going to make $8,000 more a month, right? Or 8,150, whatever it is a month. So that way I can be on track to make the six figures. And also too, sometimes in that line of thinking, like I don't want folks to get overwhelmed by, well, come February, if I do only make $150 a month in January, how am I gonna, like, where am I gonna get $8,150 from? That's crazy talk, right? Guys, remember that the slow buzz creates the boom. I always say that. I typically always say that for PR, but it's the same for operations and business systems too. If you just start the systems, the funnels, diversifying your offers, like if you just start that, then you don't have to worry about starting it when it's October. You said you wanted to have six figures by the end of December. Now you're shit out of luck, right? But if you started in January, so that way by the end of March, the end of quarter one, you're like, okay, I know what works, I know what doesn't. Now you can up level it in quarter two, and maybe your quarter two will be so bomb ass. Okay, I like that. It's not kick ass, but it's bomb ass. But maybe your quarter two will be so bomb ass that you'll make up what you would have or should have made in quarter one in order to hit that six figure goal. Do you get what I'm saying? So like, just start the thing. Okay. So hopefully with those 5 tips, y'all, you will feel confident and equipped that six figures is possible in your business. It just takes a step at a time. Make sure that your mindset is there. Make sure that you use SMART goals to be super intentional about the steps that you should take. Don't forget that once you actually create the game plan, you have to implement it. Budgeting is your friend. And number 5, faith and manifestation are super key. Thank you so much for watching this episode and listening. Please make sure that you subscribe to the Brand Unveiled podcast where you stream all of your podcasts. Leave us a nice review, share it with someone who will find this beneficial. And if you are watching this on YouTube, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you next week. Bye.